בשם השם נעשה ונצליח, שיעור תורה, ברוכים הבאים. We're back, Baruch Hashem, after the Chag Shavuot, the Chag Matan Torah, and we're back to our series here in Sunny Isles, Florida, continuing to discuss and understand Jewish HaShkafa. What is the right ideology for a Jew? Now, of course, many of these things can be applied to non-Jews as well, but the obligation is on the Jew nonetheless. Shiur BeEzrat HaShem will be for a refuah shlema for Rabbanit Levana bat Sarah, Rav Ephraim ben Shulamit, Rabbanit Sarah bat Anat, Orit bat Ilana, Yitro ben Avraham, David ben Esriya, Doris bat Jora, Serach bat Batya, Batya bat Sarah, Dvorah bat Mercedes, Elisheva, Chaya bat Sarah, Esther bat Tzipora, and also Atzlacha Rabba for Shaul ben Farzane. Kadosh Baruch Hu yivarech otam bekol mikol kol, chaim arukim, shlemim, meleim Torah, mitzvot, milut chasadim, refuah shlema, refuat hanefesh, refuat haguf. So, we have, Baruch Hashem, the Chazon Ish closely teaching us verse by verse, pasuk by pasuk, of what a Jewish HaShkafa is supposed to be, a Jewish ideology is supposed to be, because many times you see that people may appear to be Jewish but don't necessarily act that way. People may not even be Jewish but act that way sometimes, like they are. So this is Alma de Shikra. This is the Chazal calls this world the world of lies. And it pertains to this nonetheless, where looks can be deceiving, because sometimes you can see a person and he looks to you like a righteous person, has modest clothes on, looks like a religious Jew, has a hat, maybe carry with himself a title of a rabbi. But when you see this person start talking, or you see this person and how he behaves in his day-to-day life, you start getting confused. Is he really Jewish or not? Women in the back, men in the front. Not really the back. I mean, it's two rows of different. Just unless she's your wife. If she's your wife, you can snatch that. But Buchim Abayim. It's very confusing for people today, because you go to certain communities and they welcome you like you're the Mashiach. Wow, Baruch haba, how are you? Where are you from? What do you do? How many kids do you have? The resume. They measure you up. The second you say a word that doesn't jive with the community, yeah, I don't think this is the place for you. No. Yeah, you're a fanatic. What are you a fanatic? Did I say that you're not allowed to drive on Shabbat? I don't know, just the way you said it. But it says it in the Torah, not to let drive on Shabbat. It says, Moshe Rabbeinu, don't drive on Shabbat. People don't like to hear things that negate their interest, their desires, and so on. And the problem is that this confuses people, especially when the people are new. Every day, Hashem is my witness, I get probably more questions about this than any other subject, about somebody that heard something in our shiurim and decided to bring this idea to his local rabbi or a local person that's religious and is supposed to know something or two, and or he spoke to somebody, and as soon as they brought this, and of course, Baruch Hashem, b'siyata dishmaya, we always try to provide sources so we don't go home empty-handed. So he says, Rabbi Yaron said, Shulchan Aruch says such and such. And the people simply are shocked. No, come on. Well, who's this guy? Well, no, I'm not sure. No, not this generation. No, not this generation. But it says Shulchan Aruch. Yeah, but you know, Shulchan Aruch and the 70 faces and the 80 faces and the 90 faces. Ooh, why? Just today, I got at least a half a dozen of these. At least a half a dozen of these. One guy talks to another supposedly religious guy, supposed to be a Hasid even. You know, Hasid is supposed to mean something. It doesn't mean anything today. Hasid just means clothing. It means your style today. In the old days, times of the Gemara, when you see the word Hasid, it doesn't mean a guy with payas and a hat and a beard and a stripe. It doesn't mean that. Hasid in the Gemara means this is a person that does above and beyond what's required of him. Meaning, you are supposed to keep Shabbat for, let's say, 25 hours, he keeps it for 26. You are supposed to wait 6 hours between milk and meat. You eat meat, you have to wait 6 hours. He waits a whole day. 24 hours. Why? Just in case. Just in case. Everything, he does more. Extra. Why? Avodat Hashem. He's mamash wants to do Avodat Hashem to the max. Doesn't want to have anything left to doubt, nothing. Doesn't want to enjoy this world. Doesn't want to have anything. Just wants Avodat Hashem. That's it. That's his desire. That's his addiction. Hashem. That's a Hasid. Today, Hasid, style. There are many tzaddikim that are Hasidim, don't get me wrong. But unfortunately, today you cannot judge it by the way people look. Can't. And guy calls, talks to him, says, hey, listen, you know, we have the conversation starts. He says, you know, but the whole issue of Tikkun HaBrit, as of course we all know, the Zohar Kadosh says clearly that the Tikkun of the generation before Mashiach is going to be Tikkun HaBrit. For men, it's you have to be blind not to see that this is the Tikkun of the generation. And also immorality for women is also not exactly a easy issue today. Some statistic was reported recently in Eretz Yisrael, Hashem Yishmor V'Yatzil, says that the cheating among spouses is now as high or higher by the women than the men. So, in previous generations, if you would have mentioned this to your grandmother, she would have slapped you in the face for saying just a stupid thing. What? Women cheat? What do you think we are? Today, unfortunately, normal. Normal. This is a secular world, but nonetheless, it is the world. So, you go to, it says to a guy, you know, Tikkun HaBrit. All of a sudden, the guy's saliva turns into venom, and he starts distorting the Torah in every way, shape, and form, and tells the guy, no, it's not relevant to this generation anymore. That's not really what the sages really meant. You know, it says, death penalty. It doesn't really mean death penalty. It just means they're disconnected from Hashem. That's what it means. Where he got that from? Maybe, I don't know, a box of Doritos or something, a fortune cookie. I'm not really sure which Gemara Masechet fortune cookie. Not sure. But it for sure wasn't from the Torah. Why? Because if you see it from the Torah, no such thing. But you think he's the only one? You can actually find, if you remove, chas v'shalom, but let's say you remove the shiurim we've done about this topic, you remove them, because Baruch Hashem we've done a lot of shiurim about this topic, because unfortunately in English, makom she'en ish tishtadel liot ish, the place there's no leader, you have to be the leader, so we're the ones that actually lead this topic. If you remove the shiurim, put them aside, just leave them on the CD for a second, you can find more shiurim, more jokester of videos making fun of this sin than you can from, I'm talking about from people that supposedly know Torah. I'm not talking about like from the psychologist. I'm not talking about from Dr. Ruth. I'm talking about from people that have a kippah on. You can find more shurim that make fun of this. Mock the Torah, mock the sages, than you can find shurim that tell you the truth. That's how sad we are in a situation right now. So now you have a situation where a guy that looks religious, acts religious, keeps Shabbat. On Shavuot, I'm sure he went to Bet Knesset and tried to stay up for a little while in between the donuts. I'm sure he did. Tells you, no, this sin is not relevant to this generation. The problem is with saying such a thing is that he doesn't actually understand what he just did. What he just did is he violated the 13 principles of faith, which the Rambam says anyone that goes against the 13 principles of faith, you can not count them in a minyan. It's considered a kofel, considered a heretic. Similar to somebody that's like an idol worshiper. Similar to somebody that drives on Shabbat on purpose, not pikuach nefesh. Similar to somebody that goes against the sages on a regular basis. Why? Because one of the 13 principles of faith is that the Torah will never change. The principles of the Torah will never change. No such thing. To say that it was relevant 500 years ago, when Rabbi Yosef Karo wrote the Shulchan Aruch in Even HaEzer, and he wrote a section over there, maybe several halachot, at least almost a dozen different halachot specifically about this. First halakha being that this is the worst crime in the Torah. First one. That's what he starts it off with. This Isur is the worst sin in the Torah. Worst thing. So to say it was relevant 500 years ago. To say it was relevant at the time of the Rambam. And the Rambam writes, someone that weighs seed is considered a murderer. Murder. To say that was relevant at the time of the Rambam, not relevant now. But then it was. To say it was not relevant today, but it was relevant at the time of Gemara, Masechet Nida, page 13, says that someone that weighs seed, it's like he brought the flood. Needless to say, he's supposed to go on Nidui. Needless to say, he has din kareh, he should get a death penalty. Meaning, if someone sees him do it, he should kill him. Sanhedrin sees him do it, kill him. But since we don't see him, HaShem is going to kill him. Death penalty. Why? For being by himself? Yes, exactly. Yeah. Why? It's disgusting. Kadosh Baruch Hu hates it. Now, everybody here that celebrated Shavuot and read the common thing that you read during Shavuot is the Book of Ruth. The Book of Ruth starts off with a story of Ruth and her sister Orpah, who both of their husbands were the sons of Naomi, and both of them died. So the Gemara in Yerushalmi says, how come they died? What did they die for? What do they do? What they do? They wasted seed. They wasted seed, Hashem killed both of them. That's why they died. Ruth and Orpah were widows because their husbands wasted seed. They were married, but they wasted seed anyway. Why? Because wasting seed doesn't have an age, doesn't have a status, doesn't only happen to non-religious people, doesn't only happen to Jews, doesn't only happen to a specific group. No, everybody. A person that does not have Yirat Shamayim, for sure is going to waste seed. And ladies should not ever think that they're patu from this mitzvah. Why? They have double whammy. They have double whammy. Why? A woman that walks around not modest, she has to know that the eye, as we learned from the Chazon Ish a few weeks ago, the eye is the best camera in history. Why? It not only captures the picture, but it records it without a memory stick. Like we have to put a memory stick on each camera. 128 gigs, 164 gigs. How much is there? Lots of gigs in each one. The eye, no gigs. Unlimited gigs. And it records non-stop. You never have to delete it. Everything the eye sees, it will always remember. If not in your conscious or your subconscious. But forever it's recorded. Which means any guy that sees a woman that walks around immodest, he records that vision. That vision is not going away. That woman ever arouses this person to waste seed, HaShem Yishmor v'Yatzi, what's going to happen to this woman? Why? There's no way that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to put him in Gehenom and her in Gan Eden. It's not fair. So already a woman said, okay, so all of a sudden, okay, let's put the jacket on, let's put this on, let's put on. I don't want it to say words. Oh, but is it my problem that they're going to look at me? Yes, it's your problem. Is it my fault they're going to have that? Yes, it's your fault. Why? Wear some clothes. What's the problem? You don't have clothes? We'll send you some. We send some food, we send some clothes, we send some everything. We'll get some clothes. What's the problem? Well, you have to wear, you have to be naked? You have to? Oh, it's hot. It's hot in Gehenom also. What's the problem? Our grandparents were in a desert with full coats, and you can't wear a normal jacket or something to cover your body with your air conditioning? Come on, give me the excuses of it's hot. It's nonsense. You want people to look at you. Okay, you want people to look at you. Kadosh Baruch Hu says, no problem. They're going to look at you all types of ways. in this chamber, in that chamber, in this chamber, in that chamber, all types of chambers. So everyone's going to look at you. So look what's happened to her over there, what happened over there. Why? You caused my children to sin. I have to punish them for that. It's my kids, my little babies. Each Jew is a Kadosh Baruch Hu's little baby. You know how much he loves a Jew? You know how much a Kadosh Baruch Hu loves a baby? You ever have a baby, you see this baby, you just want to just hug him and he's just so cute. You just want to squeeze him till you don't want to leave. It's so cute. HaShem created them cute because they're annoying in the beginning. Really, they're really, really annoying. They don't want to sleep. They don't want to, they cry every 5 seconds. So he created them cute. Why? Because if they weren't cute, you just sell them on eBay. So, but they're so cute. Guess what? You are cute to him also, not to me. To him, you're cute. For sure, you're cute. And he loves you so much, he doesn't want to send you to Gehinnom. So when someone causes you to do that, and he has to punish his own kid, guess what? Kadosh Baruch Hu says, revenge. El nekamot Hashem, el nekamot Ophia. The God of vengeance is Hashem, the God of vengeance has arrived. We read it every Wednesday in our prayer. So when a woman causes another guy to sin, she has a problem with a Kadosh Baruch Hu, not with the guy. You don't have to care what the guy did or didn't do. That's not your problem is not with the guy. The problem is with the Kadosh Baruch Hu. You have a bill. That's one. Then you have the Ben Ish Chai. The Ben Ish Chai, Mekubal Gadol. No one's going to say, oh, the Ben Ish Chai, no, we don't take him seriously. Ben Ish Chai says, when a woman is by herself and she does what she does, like a man, she also creates Shidim. She also creates the Shin Dalets. Just like a man. And we had a woman, wasn't really a woman, it was a little girl, came to one of my students, told her, yeah, I didn't know until Rabbi Reuven mentioned in the shiur, what do I do? So, what do you mean, what do you do? You're 11. She said, yeah. What do I do? The girl that she was talking to, Baruch Hashem, she didn't tell me this. I would start crying. She would say, why are you crying, Rabbi? What did I do? And I'm crying. 11 years old. 11-year-old girl tells her, what do I do? He says, what's wrong? What? I'm addicted to it. I didn't know anything wrong with it. Rabotai, this is the tikkun of the generation. Tikkun of the generation. Now, if you want to blame the internet for it, it's like blaming the gun for shooting somebody. The internet is a tool, no different than any other utility in the world. You have electricity, you have a gas, you have all types of things that you use in the world. If you use them like you're supposed to use them, no harm will happen. If you don't, follow the instructions, of course there's going to be a problem. You can use a car to go to work. You use a car like the Palestinians and run over people. That's what they do. Their cars, they don't go to work. They don't work, these people. Why? They get a bunch of money from the government. The Zionist government gives the money to kill Jews. Bemet, seriously, you guys think I'm joking? Go look at what happens in Eretz Yisrael when a terrorist Palestinian kills a bunch of Jews. What do? They send him to jail, right? But what happens? The government gives them money. The government gives them money. They actually make more money going to jail than they do if they stay out. If I was a Palestinian terrorist, it's a good job. Make a good living that way. Kill a bunch of people, kill the enemy, and on top of that I'm getting money for it for my family, and on top of it you get money from the family. Oh yeah, you know, Mustafa, yeah, he's a That's what happens in a distorted, ideology. So the point is, Rabotai, is that when you have people that call themselves rabbis, or you have yourself different people that call themselves religious, tell you things that are the opposite of what you heard in the shiur, which means it's the opposite of the Torah. If you're not strong with your own ideology, with your own HaShkafa, with your own understanding of what the law is and what the law isn't, you are going to get confused. Today, that was one of the calls I got. Another one told me, yeah, but over here it's some other rabbi that you quoted in a shiur that said things that are against the Torah. They're saying maybe they were referring to Manis the Rasha, Manis the Menace. Yeah, you only quoted him for a minute or a half hour, but maybe he said something else with the rest of the shiur, because you know the shiur that he makes is an hour or a half hour. Maybe you're just distorting it. I said, go watch the shiur. Go watch the shiur. Go do it. No, but the rabbi said that really you shouldn't speak out against Jews because no matter what, they're still Jews. Your rabbi needs to go back to rabbinical school. Why? Because the halachot of Lashon Hara, if you look at the Chafetz Chaim, chapter 8, halakha number 5, he specifically says that you have to warn the public from people that cause them to sin. And all of the laws pertaining to Lashon Hara only are referring to someone that's considered part of Amitecha. Amitecha means your nation. When someone causes the public to sin, or someone is a public sinner himself, like a Mechalel Shabbat, for example. He drives to shul on Shabbat. No, he's not allowed to drive. He's not like, from the kibbutz, he just came to shul for the first time in his life. He's been driving to shul on a regular basis 5-10 years already. You told me yesterday, you're not allowed to drive on Shabbat. No, it's okay. The rabbi understands. Like one of those people, he's no longer considered part of Amitecha. Meaning, Lashon Hara rules do not apply to him. You could say whatever you want about him. In fact, if he causes others to sin, it's an obligation for you to expose him. And Rabbeinu Yonah in Sharei Tshuva talks about how you have an obligation to expose these people. But in such a way that if you don't talk about him, you start becoming scared of Rabbeinu Yonah, what he's going to do to you. When you get up to Bedin of Shamayim, forget Gehinom. Rabbeinu Yonah is going to take care of you. Why? Because you're exposing the public to a danger without them even knowing. So, this means, Rabotai, that to know the difference between right and wrong, the difference between the right mindset of a Jew, the wrong mindset of a Jew, is very critical in the world today, because you cannot judge anyone based on appearance. They could look a certain way but act something completely different. Unfortunately, Rabotai, I'm sorry to tell you, most of my displeasure with Klal Yisrael has been from people that call themselves rabbis. Regular people, secular, religious, 50-50, sometimes yes, sometimes no. Baruch Hashem, I get along with almost everybody. But the people that cause the most amount of anguish, the most amount of headaches, rabbis. Nightmare. Just mamash a nightmare. And it's not like I'm looking for them, so maybe I'm egging them on or something. I just mind my own business. I mind my own business. I do my thing. It's unbelievable. And the truth is, Rabotai, is that's what the Zohar Kadosh says at the end of the days. That's what's going to happen. Most of the rabbis in the world, he says, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai says, are going to be Erev Rav. Are going to be the people, they're going to fight the Mashiach. Not bring the Mashiach. Meaning, Mashiach arrives, BeEzrat HaShem, war. What war? Rabbis versus Mashiach. Along with Amalek, along with all of the Christians, along with the Muslims, along with all of the haters of Am Yisrael, together, led by Erev Rav. So don't be surprised if your so-called rabbi gives you something that's the opposite of the Torah. I'm not necessarily saying that by default they're Erev Rav, but don't be surprised. That's why I always tell you, always make sure that regardless of what anyone ever says to you, if it contradicts anything you've heard in our shurim, even if it doesn't, ask the person, whether he's a rabbi or not, where is the source for what you just said? Where could I see what you said in a book? I believe you. I understand what you're smart, you're even good looking. Whatever you want. Fine. Can I see what you said, those words, in a book? Now if he's Manis Friedman, he says, no, I don't disclose my secrets. That's what Manis Friedman. We had somebody called Manis Friedman and said, listen, we want to get some sources for what you said. He said, okay, it's $400 for a half-hour meeting. Meaning $800 an hour. It's a high-end lawyer. $400 for a half-hour meeting. I told the guy, agree, go, whatever, I'll pay for it. No sources exist. After he got surprised, we agreed. He didn't know it's coming from me. It's just some random guy. So the guy says, okay, we agree. When can we meet? Oh, no, I can't meet. Why, you busy? When can we meet? No, I can't meet with you. Oh, okay, you can't meet with you. Busy. Okay, no problem. Can you just give me one source? For the things you said in this lecture, 30 seconds over here, you said such and such, Genom, all those things you said. Can you give me one source, one page number? Manis responds, no, I don't disclose my secrets. I don't disclose my secrets. Now it's funny, but it's sad. Why? Because this young boy, this young man, didn't know halacha is that he has to disclose it. Why? There's a Mishnah, Pirkei Avot, chapter 6, Mishnah number 6. It says that you have to mention the things that you say in the name of who said it, as we learn from Esther HaMalka. In Megillat Esther, that she said something to Achashverosh in the name of Mordechai. Why? Because had Esther said to Achashverosh, listen, these two guys are trying to kill you, Achashverosh would have said, oh, okay, thanks a lot, my dear wife, and that's it, salvation wouldn't have come. But because she said it in the name of Mordechai, Achashverosh, what did he do? Oh, this Mordechai, let me write this in the book, so I remember this guy. I remember this guy in the book. Later on, as the Kadosh Baruch Hu would have it, he remembered he owed Mordechai a favor. He looked in his book, I didn't pay this guy the favor that I owe him, he saved my life. And that's how the salvation came. And from there the Chachamim learn that when you mention something from the source, from the place that you heard it, you bring the Mashiach. And when you don't, you delay the Mashiach. You delay the salvation. Such is the magnitude of mentioning something with a source. That's why you see all Talmidei Chachamim, when they mention things in the Shiurei Torah, they're constantly spitting out sources. It's not because they're trying to show off their wisdom, chas v'shalom. They're trying to fulfill a mitzvah from a Torah. So you know that you can find what I just said in a book, and you can track that book's source all the way to our oral Torah, all the way to our written Torah, all the way to Mount Sinai, Moshe Rabbeinu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, and so on and so forth, all the way to the beginning of time. Why? Because this rule has been in place since the beginning of time. It was implemented at the time of Mount Sinai. But the Torah Kedosha itself was already written 974 generations before the world was created, as it says in Gemara Masechet Chagiga. So from there we know that, Rabotai, to mention a source is not a ma'ala. It's not like it makes you special or significant. It makes you kosher. Like, if you went to a restaurant to go eat some kosher food, and the guy says to you, oh yeah, we're kosher. That's not a ma'ala. That's why I'm coming here. I want to eat kosher food. You have a stamp on your door, says kosher. You have a teudah, you have some certificate on the wall. Hopefully it's still valid that it's kosher. I'm not coming here because I like your food. I'm coming here because it's kosher. I happen to like your kosher food, but main reason I'm here is because it's kosher. Doesn't make you special. Makes you kosher. If it's good too, that may be special. But the reality is, to mention a source doesn't make you special. It makes you a kosher person. When someone doesn't mention sources, it's a problem. It's a very big problem. Why? Because the audience is not able to decipher what is right, what is wrong, how could I double check this? And you will notice that all of the people that we've mentioned over the last several years and have gone against them publicly, not a single one of them mentioned sources. Why? Because if they mentioned sources, it would ruin the party. What are they going to mention? Yeah, my source was a Dardasim v'Gargamel, Sipul, Smurfs and Gargamel. You guys probably don't know what Gargamel is. The Smurfs, the cartoon from 40 years ago. Power Rangers, source number 2, Power Rangers episode 6, X-Men, they never die, Wolverine wins, that's the sources. Why? They don't have any sources. Source, Hollywood, new film about marijuana, that Drog Kasuta quotes that you're allowed to smoke marijuana. Where's he going to quote? No Posek ever said you're allowed to smoke marijuana, but Drog Kasuta decided. So, it's very important. You go against people like this, but more importantly, you have the right information for yourself, because those people are not always public. In fact, most of them are not public people. Most of them are in your keilah, in your local shul, in your local community, may even be a family member, and they're going to question you. Now, you don't necessarily need to remember all the sources by heart yourself, although you should, but you need to know enough about the truth that no one can shake you up. If they tell you something that sounds true and negates your truth, don't let anybody shake you up. Many times people have tried doing that to me. In the beginning I was a lot more vulnerable than I am today, Baruch Hashem. They'd throw some curveball at me and I'd run to Rabbi Reuven, what's going on? The whole world's destroyed. What happened? This guy just said da 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 da. What is wrong? Okay, but he just quoted this and this and this and this, 15 different books. He goes, oh, he misquoted. What do you mean? But he quoted them. He goes, let me show you what he quoted. And we go one after another. Here, say liar, liar, liar. Never happened. Never mentioned. Liar, liar. Just made it up. And you saw one after another. All the things that the guy quoted, complete fabrication of the truth. But in the beginning, you don't know what you don't know. So someone mentions some verse, or someone mentions some rabbi, or someone mentions some page, you get all shaken up. What does that mean? You're not confident in your own knowledge. And that's one of the things that you have to do for yourself. Because the Yetzirah will send them to you. It may be your girlfriend, it may be your best buddy, it may be your parents, it may be your rabbi even. You have to know enough about the truth in order to defend it. And again, it's not necessarily about remembering all of the pages and even the way the page looks like by heart. It's just knowing enough about the truth to decipher, no, this doesn't sound right. This doesn't sound right. But you know what? I'm not going to argue with you. Can you just give me a source so I can check it? Can I see what you said in a book? I'll show it to you. No, don't show it to me. Just give me the book. I want to look it on my own. I know what you do. He gives you the source. He gives you the page number. You send me a text message. Rabbi, what does it say over here? Unless it's clear for you. Because sometimes they'll send you something that's so difficult to understand. Maybe it's from Chassidut, it's the words of the Baal Shem Tov, and they're going to mention something. Oh, see, the Baal Shem Tov says that no Jew is ever going to be lost. Yeah, but in what context? When did he say it? What was before, what was after that sentence? Because the Baal Shem Tov also talks about Gehenom. Oh, he didn't mention that to you. Oh, he didn't mention that part to you. Oh, so it all depends. When did he say what he said he said? Because if he says, oh, no Jew will ever be lost, maybe he's just talking about time of Yetziat Mitzrayim. Maybe he's talking about at someone that's really tries to do tshuva, but is still having a hard time, but Hashem is not going to give up on him. I don't know, but he's talking about different contexts. You can't just take this one sentence and say, this is the Baal Shem Tov. That's it, finished. It doesn't work that way. What's the context? What's before, what's after, what he said, what he said. And if you don't know, you're going to get confused. So that's why it's important for you to get strong with your own understanding of what's right and wrong in Judaism. And that's in essence one of the obligations that the Chazon Ish discusses today, where he says in the chapter 4 of the Sefer Emunah V'Bitachon, or it's chapter 1, section number 4, he says the following. But before he talked about all the different body parts, the eyes, the legs, the arms, the this, the that, all the different body parts, and how extraordinary each one of them is, and how much wisdom you can learn from each one of them. And in the last couple of weeks, he talked about the eyes and the ears. To be able to see the truth, to use your eyes the right way, not to look at things that are inappropriate. Not to just use your eyes for television, but use your eyes to learn Torah, use your eyes to see the truth, and so on and so forth. Same thing with your ears. Not use your ears to listen to Lashon Hara. Use your ears to listen to Youre Torah. Now he continues. He says, but what advantage does a person have under the sun if he was given the ability to speak and to hear, but is still lacking knowledge and understanding? He is no better than an animal, like an ox eating grass. So the Chazon Ish HaKadosh starts off with a bomb. He tells us all of these things that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave you. He gave you arms, He gave you legs, He gave you all these wonderful things the brain, the eyes, the ears, wonderful tools that you can use to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He says, but what purpose do you have? What purpose, what advantage does this give a human being under the sun to have these abilities if he doesn't have knowledge and understanding? Now, knowledge and understanding is to have not only the understanding of what's true and not, but also how to decipher right and wrong. But he specifies what advantage does a person have under the sun. Why under the sun? Shlomo HaMelech says, there's nothing new under the sun. Now this is a atomic bomb for all of those people that want to use the excuse that this is a unique generation and therefore one part of the Torah is no longer relevant, or it's too difficult for this generation, which is usually pertaining to arayot, to morality, sex crimes, where they say, no, this generation has the internet, so it's impossible for a guy to not look. This generation has so much immodesty on the television and in media and everything, so it's impossible for a woman to be modest because she's constantly competing with everything out there. So this must not be relevant to our generation. Shlomo HaMelech says otherwise. Nothing new under the sun. The same immorality that's available to you today was available 3,000 years ago. Nothing changed. What changed? Maybe clothing style a little bit. Maybe the value of a name tag that you have on your clothing. Back then, there wasn't much. You were either the best or you were the average guy that made clothes. Either it cost 1 coin or it cost 10 coins because you were selling it to the king because of the fabric. That's it. There was no Versace and DKNY and Fendi and Gucci and all this nonsense. That all of a sudden this little rag is $400 instead of $9.99. You go to the supermarket, 3 T-shirts, $20. You go to one of these stores in these songs, $450 for a T-shirt. Why? Because it has some Joe's name on it, with a handprint or some face of some guy that died 40 years ago. Therefore, it's $400, and there's people stupid enough to pay it. Some people are proud of their collection. Oh no, Rabbi, I have a sick collection of sneakers. Sick. I said, you're sick. It's very sick. You're sick. You're sick. You need to institute. You put yourself in an institution. When are you going to wear all these sneakers? How many feet do you have? No, it's a sick collection, Rabbi. Sick. I got Jordan 1s, Jordan 2, Jordan 6, 17, 85. I said, Michael Jordan himself doesn't have all those shoes. Why do you have all those sneakers? Why do you have all those T-shirts? For what? No, I got a sick collection. Sick. So it's very sick. You have no money in the bank, but you have T-shirts. No, I can sell them, Rabbi, on eBay. Yeah, they're sicker people than you. They'll buy this stuff secondhand after you sweat in it. It's the craziest thing in the world. You should go to the supermarket, buy it for $9.99, put some handprint on it to make it sick. No, Rabbi, this one has jewels on it. Yeah, my little daughter plays with those jewels. She glues them on stuff. She can make you one for less, $200, not $300. Some guy made a T-shirt. The size $300. Sick. Sick how people get rich. But the reality is, Rabotai, is that there's nothing new under the sun. Nothing new under the sun. All of the immorality that's in the world today was always there. Different tools, different things that cause people to do things, but nonetheless it's all the same. That desire to do the forbidden has been around since the beginning. It's always been. In fact, there is one desire that's lesser today, that's almost hidden, that was much more exposed, which was idol worship. Now today we have idol worship in the world, unfortunately, but it's not as exposed as it was back then. That's because the Chachamim begged HaKadosh Baruch Hu to remove it from the world. Now HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't officially remove it, but he in essence hid it in many other things. Not just Christianity and Catholicism and Buddhism, but also money and kavod and things of that nature, respect, all types of things that people idolize. But even that is something that's more tolerable than it was back then. But that's the one exception. The rest of everything else, as far as morality issues and things of that nature, nothing changed. Nothing under the sun. But for some reason, Rabotai, people think that the Yetzer Hara has changed. He hasn't changed. He just modernized himself. The Yetzer Hara is very modern. He's so modern, he's more modern than you. He knows about the fashion that's going to come out before you do. Why? He's responsible to bring that stumbling block in front of us. And a person that thinks that they're going to be able to use this excuse in Shamayim should also read another thing that Shlomo HaMelech said, where he says in Mishlei, in Proverbs, chapter 19, verse 21, and you read it in your prayer in your Siddur, Rabot machshavot belev ish, ve'etzat Adonai hi takum. Shlomo HaMelech, the wisest of all men, says many designs, meaning many ideas, are in a man's heart, but the counsel of HaShem, only it will prevail. Meaning that a person can have all types of ideas. He can have an idea, no, I'm going to do this business, I'm going to be a billionaire. Okay. It's good you have confidence. It means zero. As far as it's good that you can have confidence, it's very good. You need to have confidence before you do something. But as far as whether that's going to lead to a certain outcome, absolutely not. Unless that confidence is in Hashem. If that confidence is in Hashem, that could actually change the outcome. Why? Because having confidence in Hashem by itself gives Hashem a reason to give you what you want. If what you want is good. But as far as to just have confidence, I'm going to start this business and therefore I'll make money, doesn't mean anything. Maybe means something on in fairy tale land. All these gurus of today. There's like a new guru every day today. Everybody's a new guru. Used to be just Tony Robbins, Zig Ziglar, and a few other guys that said the same exact idea in different words. Now every Joe Schmo is a guru, has a YouTube channel, and he sells you a course that says absolutely nothing for $2,500. What does he tell you? You have to work hard. Wow, $2,500 that you have to work hard. Cheap. You have to believe in yourself. That's worth $3,000 at least. You give me a discount. You give me a discount. Wow, what a deal. You have to listen to all my videos and buy the books that say the same exact thing as everybody else before me. Balash, free, almost. Free, let me just give you my money. Every day there's a new guru. Some of them never made money working $15 an hour even. First job, being a guru. I'm going to teach you how to be a millionaire. How? Do what I do. Tell people how to be a millionaire. The guy never made $1. But that's, people are buying it. People are buying it. They start these courses. They drag you on for an hour and a half. By the time you listen to this Joe for an hour and a half, you already feel committed. No, because he gave me a free seminar. All my secrets, I'm going to unveil to you. An hour and a half later, he hasn't said anything. He hasn't said a thing. He told you his sob story of how he used to be homeless before he fooled people like you, and how he did this and how he did that, and he was tired of being alone. He was tired of day-to-day job and the grind, and poor him, and now he figured out how to do it, and now I'm going to tell you, but before I tell you, let me tell you what else I went through. An hour and a half later, I'm like, okay, tell me something. Oh, you want me to tell you the real secret? Subscribe here. $26.99, not $26.99, $2,699. And guess what? They're selling it by the dozens. By the dozens they're selling it. Then you buy it. Gives you the course. Guess what? He still tells you nothing. He tells you the stuff you could get for free on the internet. But then you feel like, I'm already invested into this thing. I'm committed to it. So when the guy starts selling you all of this emails, you have to come, you have to listen, you have to do this, you watch the YouTube, you watch all these private videos and all this nonsense. He tells you, oh, there's a special seminar only for my select students, only select ones. And it happens to be that my select ones could afford to pay me $5,000. But they're select though, they're select. They're special people. Like, they have to be. It happens to be that they can afford to pay $5,000. It happens to be. And then people buy into that. And then they go to a bunch of places, and they're surrounded by a bunch of other morons that fell into this system, and every single person paid $5,000. So what do? They all jive up each other. They all gas up each other. Yeah, you bought into it. Yeah, it's real. Yeah. And no one knows what's going on, though, except the guy that's collecting in the back. Ching, 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 ching. Oh, another guy. Oh, yeah, he's selected. He's special. Yeah, we love this guy. What's his name again? Yeah, special. 5,000 clear? Okay, special. Special. They're all special. $5,000. 5,000 people show up. The guy makes $20 million for doing nothing. And then he goes up on stage, curses a few times to make you feel like you're friends. Wants to make sure that you speak the same language. You curse, he curses. You're tired of being down, he's tired of being down. You're going to beat the man, he's going to beat the man. You're going to beat the system, he beat the system. And you're going to learn 2, 3, 4 hours of absolute nothingness. But guess what, guys? The next seminar is going to be even better than this one. And you get a free book at the end. But I have this one. No. It's a special edition. I signed this one. It's the limited edition for special people that were stupid enough to pay me $5,000. And guess what? They do it. And they pay again, and again, and again, and again, and again. And after they realize it's full of nothing, it's emptiness, guess what? They go to the next guru. Why? Because the next guru gives you another video, and he has nicer cars in his video. So he must have made the money. Because he has a Lamborghini in the background. They don't know it's rented. And maybe it's even like Sonny knows how to do this. What is it called, that thing in the background? It's fake? Green screen. Fake. It doesn't even have the car. Sometimes it's rented. Sometimes he doesn't even have the car, but it looks real because it's a video. Like if Sonny wants, he can give me an elephant head for a second. In the video. Tomorrow you can say, wow, look, your own has elephant head for a second. Look at that. Wow. You can do anything with video. And people are buying into this. And they go to the next guru. And then they see a guru, some news outlet wrote about him, CNBC, CNN. It's all paid, by the way. They pay them to do it. They have a publicist. They pay him $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 a month. Listen, make sure I'm on the news. Get me on the news so I can tell people I was on CNN. I was on this one. Like they actually care about my opinion. And then it looks like this guy is well-to-do. He's successful. Guess what? He sells more of this junk. And people buy into it and buy into it. And today, one of these commercials that you have on YouTube, some kid. This kid, honestly, if he still wears a diaper, I wouldn't be surprised. But he's a guru. He didn't look a day older than 16, but he happens to be a guru. He still has braces on. And he talks like a little kid that has braces on. But he's telling people how to be rich. I'll bet anything he never had a normal job in his life. But he's teaching people, and guess what? He's going to get paid. If he already has enough money to put publicizing on YouTube, it costs a lot of money. So he's already getting some stupid person to actually pay him for this. And there's countless people like this, countless. Why? Because people are not searching for the truth. What are they searching for? Quick way out. Quick way out of my problems. A quick way out of this circumstance. This also has to do with the Mashiach ideology that people have, where they want Mashiach now, without actually knowing any of the laws and the actual reality that has to do with Mashiach. Where it actually says Mashiach comes, is going to be Gog and Magog. It's going to be war. Lots of people are going to die. You're going to know some of them. It's not going to be a fun time. If Rabbi Eliezer ben Holkinos and all of the sages that discussed Mashiach said they were scared to live at the time of Mashiach, but you're saying Mashiach now, it's a little bit of a problem, right? They knew more than you and they were scared. How come you're not scared? How come you're not scared? So that's the thing. People think that Mashiach is like the Social Security office. It's going to give you some money. Or unemployment. Oh yeah, they fired me, poor me, they fired me. Okay, no, what do you want from us? I want you to give me a check every 2 weeks. Oh, okay, no problem. Fill out over here. It's not our money anymore. We'll give it to you. No problem. Here you go. $500 a week, $1,000 a week. No problem. People think that's Mashiach. What happened to you? Oh, I made all these sins. Oh, you made all these sins? Okay, what do you want to check? How much you want me to pay for the sins? Okay, here you go, check. Here you go. Give it to God. Go, give this check to God. He'll pay for all your sins. That's what they think Mashiach is. Mashiach is going to pay for their sins. That's Christianity. So it's very, very important for a person to know, as much as we make this issue humorous a little bit, to lighten up the topic, but the reality is, it's a horrible mentality. And that's why Shlomo HaMelech says, there are many, many machshavot, there are many ideas that a person has, many ways that he thinks he's going to get himself out of his trouble. He's going to make certain sins, but he's going to have an excuse. When he gets up to Shamayim, Shlomo HaMelech says, all of those ideas that you have of how you're going to fool the system, maybe it's going to work in this world with people. It's not going to work with Hashem. The Midrash Ma'am Loez in Parashat Vayelech, in the English version, it's page 311, says there's a hidden secret that Shlomo HaMelech has in this verse. When he says, Ve'etzat Hashem itakum, that the counsel of Hashem, meaning that Hashem is going to decide what's going to be the outcome of everything. When it says the word He meaning it stands for the acronym of three different people. Hey for Hillel is a kin. Yud for Yosef HaTzadik, and Aleph for Elazar, Rabbi Elazar ben Chasima. Why these three people? Because a person is going to go up to Shamayim, and a Kadosh Baruch Hu is going to ask him, how come you didn't learn Torah? You knew everything about the sports teams. You knew the salary caps. You knew what coach they had in every year that they won the championship. You knew how many people they could fit in the stadium when they played at home versus when they played somewhere else. You know all types of useless information. But my Torah, somebody asked you, am I allowed or not allowed to do such and such on Shabbat? You didn't know. How come? No, Hashem, listen, I was so poor. I was always working. And you know, when you're working, you're not going to be able to learn Torah. Oh, you're poor. Hillel HaZaken had enough money every day to go give food, half a coin, 1 lira, to give to his family so they could eat and not starve to death, and the other half to give it to the Bet Midrash so he could learn Torah. That's all he had. And when he didn't have that, he climbed on the roof of the Bet Midrash of Shmaya and Avtalion just to listen, because he couldn't enter. They wouldn't let him in. So he listened through the glass roof of the Bet Midrash to listen to his rabbis say Divrei Torah, and put his life in danger, and he actually froze until Shmaya and Avtalion saw him on the roof the next morning covered by snow, and they violated Shabbat to bring him back to life. They violated Shabbat. They lit a fire. They violated Shabbat to bring him back to life. Were you poorer than Hillel HaZaken? Oh, not so much. You're making $500 a week. You're making $1,000 a week. So you weren't that poor then. Business wasn't that. No. So another guy's going to say, yeah, but Hashem, come on. How could I not sin? How could I not sin? I had so much money. I had so much money. You know, I had to take care of the houses. And you blessed me, Hashem. It's not my fault you blessed me. I had all these houses. Real estate. I had my company. I sold it. And this guy bought it. And then he failed. So I bought it back to him. All this stuff takes a lot of time, Hashem. I couldn't learn Torah. Kadosh Baruch Hu says, were you richer than Rabbi Eliezer ben Chasima, who his father was so rich he left him an inheritance of 1,000 cities. 1,000 cities was his inheritance. Cities. We're not talking about 1,000 shuls. 1,000 cities. Were you richer than him? Somebody like that, even Bill Gates wouldn't be enough to work for him. Oh, he weren't so rich. But he still became a Talmid Chacham. How much of a Talmid Chacham? He's mentioned in the Gemara, that means he was so wise and so holy, he was able to revive the dead. So you weren't in his level. But he had more money than you, though. And then somebody will say, yeah, but Hashem, listen, I get it. I didn't study that much, but I did enough. But this thing about wasting seed, this thing about girls, boyfriend, it's not for me, right? It's not for this generation, right? Hashem says, yeah, it's a different generation. You have a different section for you. Hold on a second. Let me finish with the guy with the Torah. You come to a Kadosh Baruch Hu who says, but Hashem, how come this generation, the girls walking around practically naked in the streets? How could I not sin? I was such a handsome boy. Every girl wanted to give me a number. Without any commitment. Hashem, it's not my fault. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to tell you, were you more handsome than Yosef HaTzadik? Yosef HaTzadik was so beautiful that his skin was shining. Shining. Now, we're not going to have any kind of understanding of what that means. But you will have an understanding of this. When Potiphar's wife, which was one of the 4 most beautiful women that ever lived, by the way. She wasn't some woman that had 3 heads and that's why she wanted Yosef. She herself was one of the most beautiful women that ever lived. When Potiphar's wife was trying to get Yosef to be with her, and he rejected her, she got into a depression. And when her friends saw her depressed, she says, "What are you so depressed about?" She said, "Oh, Yosef doesn't want to be with me." She says, "Some slave doesn't want to be with you and you're upset? You get whatever you want. You're a beautiful woman." She says, "If you saw Yosef, you wouldn't say the same thing. So we want to see Yosef. Okay, show us Yosef. Okay, come to my house. Come to my house and come to the kitchen. Pretend like, obviously we can't tell everybody. Come to the kitchen, be with me in the kitchen, and I'll show you Yosef." So the girlfriends came over. They had a challah party. I'm kidding. My jokes are not that good, though. Only some people get them. Anyway, they were cutting the lemons. Each one was cutting lemons, oranges. You're making salad, all types of things. Whatever you do with lemons. Torah, I don't know salads, guys. Leave me alone. So it's a different section, different Gemara. I didn't get to it yet. So they were cutting lemons, they were cutting oranges, and Potiphar's wife says, "Okay, Yosef." The master's wife calls you. You have to come. Right? Even you're not going to be with her, but she calls you. You have to come. You can't disobey in front of people. So Yosef passes by the room. The women saw Yosef. They were so enamored by his beauty, they continued cutting as he's passing by. When he left, they realized they cut off their own fingers. Off completely. That's how beautiful he was. His beauty numbed their pain. That's how beautiful he was. You more beautiful than that? I think he got more numbers than you. But he didn't sin. He didn't sin. So that's the secret that we see from Shlomo HaMelech and our sages, where all of these ideas and excuses that a person has of why he can fool the system, it's not relevant to this generation, and all this other nonsense, there's already verses in the Torah that tell us otherwise. There's nothing new under the sun, whether the generation has iPhones and internet or otherwise. Then the Chazon Ish continues and he says, person that has the ability to speak and hear but still lacks knowledge and understanding, this makes him into an animal no different than an ox eating grass. Now, this may offend some people, but in reality, when you really think about it, it's true. An ox has eyes, an ox has brain, an ox has legs. An ox has his personality. It may not be as difficult as yours, but quite frankly, sometimes they're easier to get along with than people. All of these different creatures, they have their personalities, they have their brain, they have their body parts and so on. So what's distinguishing a person from them? Chazon Ish says, knowledge and understanding. If a person actually knows how to use their brain. When the will of the creator of the world was to create a wise and clever human being for his world, and to appoint him over all the creatures, he planted the roots of wisdom in a man's brain and those of understanding in his heart, so that he may study and understand everything under the sun. Meaning that, in so many words, if a person does not use his brain in order to understand the creation itself, if he doesn't use his heart in order to determine what is the right decision and what's the wrong one, what is the will of Hashem and what is against the will of Hashem, that person, the Chazon Ish is saying, is actually less than an ox, less than an animal. Why? Because no matter what you think about an animal, at the very least they're serving Hashem. Why? They're serving their purpose. If it's a cow, it's giving milk, that's his purpose. If it's a tree that's bearing fruit, that's his purpose. If it's an ox that just runs up and down the field and eats grass whenever he feels like it, that's his purpose. That's what he does. He's waiting for the day Kadosh Baruch Hu decides to make him steak. That's it. That's his purpose. He's not going to say, no, I don't want to be an ox anymore. I want to be a dancer. Doesn't work that way. He's an ox, When a person that has the same tools that the ox has ears, eyes, nose, everything, but an additional tool of a wisdom, of a brain that he has and a heart that can decipher the difference between right and wrong, but doesn't use it, it doesn't make them like the ox. Actually makes them worse, because the ox is still obeying HaShem. This is why the Gemara Masechet Pesachim says that a person that does not do the will of HaShem, is not a shomer Torah and mitzvot, should not be allowed to eat meat. Why? The meat's better than him. That's what the sages say. The cow that you're about to eat, the nice steak, it's not fair that you're eating her. Why? She did the will of HaShem. She became a kosher steak. You're not being kosher. And if you notice, this language that's very, very strong and politically incorrect is actually common language for the sages. This is not my additions. My additions, you get my additions. My little improvs here and there. But in reality, what I'm telling you, this is word for word what they're saying. If they said it in a shul today, they throw him out. If Moshe Rabbeinu showed up to any shul in the world today, they throw him out. Why? He tell them Parashat Tochicha, Parashat Kitavo, they throw him out. Parashat Azino, they throw him out. If he told them half of what the Torah says, they throw him out. Say, no, Moshe, you're a fanatic. Yeah, but I'm Moshe Rabbeinu. I spoke to Hashem face to face. Moshe, not for this generation. Not for this generation, Moshe. So now, the Chazon Ish continues and he says, whoever possesses a sharp and keen mind can separate himself from the flow of a material life, elevate his thoughts above all that exists in this world, and look from above on all life in the lower world, and will see the element of wisdom installed in a man's created, in a man created of worldly material as one of the most puzzling mysteries of all. Now this is a very, very long run-on sentence. We'll try to break it up into a few pieces. Now, the Chazon Ish says, anyone that thinks they have a sharp and keen mind. Now first we have to determine what is a sharp and keen mind. Because you can say that some of the people of the world today, whether it's the successful people that you hear about in the media constantly, whether it's the number one investor of all time, Warren Buffett, or some of the other fellow investors like Carl Icahn and Eddie Lampert and all of these other famous investors in the world, if you hear these people speak, they're very sharp people. They're very sharp people. They have their heads screwed on right. Some of them at least from the rational perspective of certain things. But according to the Chazon Ish, they're complete idiots. And I'll tell you why in a second. Then you have brilliant people, scientifically, like the guy from Tesla. What's his name? Elon Musk. Elon Musk just launched a rocket into outer space a couple of days ago. They're showing it on every single commercial, infomercial, and every single news channel in the world is mentioning this rocket being launched because it's a big deal. Because NASA spent literally hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars for what he did for millions. Meaning in no comparison, he succeeded even more than them. So you can't be an idiot and do that. Rocket science is the highest level of science, at least according to the scientists. So he got a rocket into outer space. It's a very, very big deal, with people in it too, and it didn't blow up. It's a very big deal. According to the Torah, according to the Chazon Ish, he's a complete idiot. Not according to science. According to science, genius. Einstein. Most people that talk about wisdom, talk about intellect, what are you, an Einstein or something? It's like a figure of speech. What are you, an Einstein or something? Because Einstein, smartest guy of his generation, people think he's the biggest thing in the world. Torah says, moron. Fool. Complete. Average little kid, 6, 7, 8, 9 years old, reads Chumash every day in school, much smarter than him. Why? They did not use their sharp mind. They did not use their possession that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave them for the right reason. They used it for material, whether it be for scientific or mathematical discoveries, uncover things that were already in existence, but nonetheless people didn't know and there wasn't common knowledge at the time, or invent something, or figure out a few things that other people couldn't figure out and take advantage of it and profit from it. The point being is that they had a certain amount of intellect and wisdom that allowed them to capitalize in a materialistic way. But that materialistic way has its limitations as far as when it comes to benefit. Because this world, no matter how smart you are and how rich you are, will end at some point for you, and for me, and for everybody else on this earth. Now, although the scientists say that according to their research and according to the death rate in America, the average age has increased as far as lifespan is concerned. Most people live above the age of 70 years old or 72 years old now, where it used to be lower. That doesn't really mean anything. If you look at the actual amount of people that die in the world every year, it's almost 60 million. And there's just as much, actually, if not more people, much more people, die below 70 years old in the world than above 70 years old. So that statistic is specific in the US. Around the world it changes. Either way, whether it's 70 or below or up, it ends at some point. No one lives forever. Which means that regardless of how much material and what material you toiled for, you have a limited lifespan as far as how long you'll be able to benefit from it. And quite frankly, the more material you have, the less you are able to benefit from it. If you have $1 million, it's relatively easy to enjoy it. Why? In today's world, especially if you live in America, $1 million doesn't go so far. You want to buy a house, you're pretty much out of money already. You want to buy a house in some other place that's outside of the KIRUV, okay, so you have a house, you have some money left over. In the KIRUV, you're out of money pretty much. Or most of it. That's it. $1 million doesn't go that far. So you enjoyed it, finished, that's it, go back to work now. It's not like the old days, oh, I can't wait to have $1 million, I'll live for nothing. $1 million, you're not even considered middle class. Why? You bought a house. Bought a house. And maybe, a few other things. You have, let's say, a couple $100,000 in a retirement account. That's it. That's it. In Wall Street days, if all you had is a net worth of $1 million, I couldn't deal with you. Sorry, not big enough. I need you to have $1 million liquid, meaning $1 million to invest with me, for me to talk to you. Why? I don't have time to deal with somebody that has less. Because it takes just as much effort to deal with somebody that has more than less. Why should I deal with somebody less? Doesn't make you a bad person, just business. But when it comes down to reality, that person worked hard for the $1 million, probably just as hard, if not harder, than the guy that made $100 million. But the HaKadosh Baruch Hu blessed him with $1 million. Now, the guy that has $100 million, believe it or not, has an impossible time benefiting from all of that money. Why? It's too much. How many houses can you buy? Okay, so your house is really, really big and really, really expensive. You bought, I don't know, $25 million apartment, you're on the ocean, you can see the equator for all I care. Whatever, you got the house. Congratulations. You're going to go in every room? You have 19 rooms in the house. You're going to sleep in every one of them? Every day a different room? After a while, the bed is a bed. After a while, the refrigerator, whether it's sub-zero or it's zero completely, it's the same thing. It's a fridge, and it keeps Coca-Cola cold. That's all it does, and your water. It's a fridge. Your oven, you spend $8,000 on it, or you spend $800 on it, it warms food, it doesn't warm food. It's the same thing. The water, whether it comes from some invention from Mars, where the thing is shaped in a way where it defies gravity, or it's something you bought from Home Depot for $60, water comes out of it. That's it. Mineral water, not mineral water, okay, so it'll be a little harder to swallow, but you'll swallow nonetheless. At the end of it, it's all the same. The toilet, by the way, it's still poop. It's going through the sewer system. Even if your toilet paper is made from gold. Same thing. At the end, the material, you can't enjoy all of it. And on top of it, when you have a lot of it, you don't have anything to do with it anymore. Cars, how many cars can you drive? Houses, how many houses can you live in? Stock portfolio, okay, believe it or not, this is actually a scientific fact. Blame the scientists, not me on this one. People get more stimuli, more dopamine in their mind from losing money than from gaining money. Believe it or not. There is more of an impact on the brain when they lose money in the stock market or in real estate or in other deals than when there is when they make money. I'm not saying it's more enjoyable, but people are more attracted and become more addicted to the investment from losses than from gains. So now, okay, you have your stock portfolio, and you have your 3, 4, 5 brokers that hound you every day with a new idea. How much joy is that going to give you? Eventually, you just want to put them all in a do not call list and block all of them. You don't want anyone to call you. Leave you alone. Vacation. Well, you can live your whole life on vacation? How many vacations? So go live on a beach and just stay there. Go in Dubai. They have a bunch of islands over there. Just stay on the island. Meaning, at some point, you run out of stuff to do. Especially when you have a lot of money. And then you become depressed. Why? You've achieved all your material desires. And yet you haven't attained happiness. Hence the reason why the US government came out with a statistic about 4 or 5 years ago and said that suicide is a rich person's problem. Meaning over 70% of the suicides are by people that are middle class and higher class, not poor people. Poor people apparently don't commit suicide to the same rate. They still have hope that once they get money, everything's going to be okay. The rich guy knows, I got the money, it's still not okay. I'm jumping. It's a sad reality. Why? Because everyone is looking for spiritual satisfaction, meaning happiness, from material possessions. Impossible. It's like saying, I'm going to be satiated and be full by breathing air. It's not going to work. You may fake yourself to believe that for like 2-3 days while you're fasting, and then once you collapse, and they put you in a mental institute to say this system doesn't work, you're going to get the point. It doesn't work. You can't live from air. You have to eat food. Healthy, not healthy, doesn't make a difference. You have to eat food. Doesn't matter if you agree. No, I don't want to kill any more cows. Okay, so go kill trees instead. People have all these crazy things. No, I want to be nice to this, to the world. I don't want to kill cows and chickens, the poor chickens and the poor cows. I don't want to eat meat. It's kfirah, by the way. If you don't like meat, that's one thing. You don't have to. You should eat meat because that's actually, the Gemara says for Yom Tov, for Shabbat, you're supposed to eat meat because that's the simcha of a person is meat and wine. But if you have this distaste for meat, you don't have an obligation to eat meat. But if you're not eating meat because you don't want to be mean to chickens and to cows, that's kfirah. It's heresy. Why? Because there's laws in the Torah that says that they were created for you. There's laws of shchita. Can't say I don't want to eat because I don't want to be mean to chickens. The chicken is created for you, not you for the chicken. But people, no, I don't want to be mean to them. Okay, so go kill trees. Well, killing trees is any better? Oh, they don't speak. Who said? Gemara says they speak. Gemara says they speak a lot louder than the chicken and the cow. In fact, the Gemara says when a tree is cut down, you could hear his scream from one end of the world to the other end of the world. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu's mercy made us not able to hear it. Because if we heard it, we wouldn't be able to live. We wouldn't be able to live. Now, there are certain things that you can't hear with the ear the way it is, but we know it exists. For example, there's a special whistle that if you use it, can't hear nothing. But the dog goes crazy. The dog whistle. It goes crazy. You can't hear nothing. But if you put special equipment on your ears, put special headphones on your ears, and you whistle that thing, you're going to want to rip those things off. Why? Because now you hear what he hears. And why he's going crazy. Because there's certain waves of sound that our ear is not programmed to hear. There's certain things that exist in the world that you don't see. But if you put the right glasses on, you can see them. Just because you can't see or hear something doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So people think that, no, I don't want to kill chickens and I don't want to kill cows because I don't want them to suffer. When you're eating salad, you're making the salad suffer too. But he was programmed and created for that. Yeah, he's saying ouch when he's saying Yeah. But he was created for you. You're not created for him. You are helping it. Don't be too merciful. Mercy has its limits. But people with the wrong ideology will start thinking, no, I want to be more merciful to the cows, to the chickens, but when it comes to people, no mercy. And that's what happens a lot of times. People are more merciful to animals than they are to each other. You see them donating a ton of money to save some dog in Arkansas that's missing a foot. But you tell them, listen, there are people that don't have food for a holiday. Yeah, Rabbi, I don't have any money. But didn't you just tell me you donated $5,000 for some dog kennel in Tennessee? Yeah, those poor dogs. You agree with me that one, right? Yeah. Genom agrees with you. Dogs, people are starving. You want to feed the dogs. People are starving. There's plenty of people to feed the dogs. Go feed people. Go feed people. I'm not saying be mean to dogs or to anything. But if there's a brain screwed on right, you have to prioritize certain things. But people don't do that. They're more merciful to animals than they are to people. And you see it in the streets all the time. Sometimes the way people walk around with their dogs. They walk around with their muscular big dog that's scarier than life. Some German Shepherd Nazi dog. Or one of these pit bulls that I used to have myself. And when I owned it, I can tell you myself, I never understood why people were so scared of it, because I knew the dog. Until I saw the look on their face where they didn't know the dog. So they were scared of him. So what do? Move away with the dog. No. What do people want? They want you to split the ocean. You move. I'm with my dog here. You move. Why should I move on this? It's my sidewalk. My dog is here. You're scared of the dog, it's your problem. They give more honor to the dog than to a person. It's not nothing to do with Jewish, not Jewish. It has to do with demented mentality of people. Why? Wrong ideology, wrong mentality of how you're supposed to look at things. So, you have a situation here where a person was gifted a brilliant mind. The mind of Einstein and the likes. Now that person that was gifted all these different, this high-level IQ. Some people say that Bibi Netanyahu has a high-level IQ. I don't really believe it, but some people say he does. But it's possible. But people like him, they're very good talkers, make people believe that they're very smart too. But there are people that are verified smart, that have done something significant in their life to benefit society in the world. But yet the Chazon Ish says these people are fools. Why? They did not use this gift, this brain capacity they have naturally, to benefit permanently. All they did is they benefited from that gift temporarily. They invented some product that they sold and made billions of dollars that they could only benefit partially during their life. And the reality is that most of what they toiled for and they worked for will be benefited by people that are not even related to them. People that they care less about. Perhaps even some people that hate them. What do you think? All the grandkids like grandpa that was really rich? No, some of them actually hate his guts. But they'll still take his money. Yeah, this is my stupid grandmother's mother. I'll take his money though. You know how many of those kids I talked to when I was in the money business? They cared less about grandma and grandpa. But they took the money. They took the money. Why? Because money's green. Don't care where it came from. Once in a while you have a superhero who says, no, I'm not going to benefit from my dad's money. Yeah, until they're broke and then they benefit. But in reality, it's what happens. The guy worked his whole life, invented something, built something, did something, used his brain to do something that produced, but in reality, he couldn't benefit out of it himself. That's what makes him a fool. Because that brain capacity, at the very least, should have given him the intellect to do something that he could benefit from permanently. Because everyone can do that, even if you don't have that gift of a sophisticated brain. Everyone can do that. How? Ask yourself, what is the purpose of my life? And do whatever it takes to go find it. Now, Rabbi Ephraim explains, why is it that these people tend to not figure out the purpose of life? People like Steve Jobs die atheists. People like Stephen Hawking die atheists. People like Albert Einstein die possible atheist, possible kufar. Either way is no good. Hence the reason of why his brain is still being delivered from university to university and his body doesn't have any rest. People were so enamored by his brain that they cut his brain to pieces, and it's still in different labs in Princeton University and several other labs in the world. And the Torah tells us that until the body is buried, the soul doesn't have menucha, doesn't have any rest. Which means that as long as he's in this world, his brain is in the world, he doesn't have any rest. He doesn't have any rest anyway, but that's a different story. But that's midah keneged midah, it's measure for measure. Hashem says, you utilize your brain for things that are against me, by telling people you're not really sure if God exists. Okay, I'll take that brain and I'll utilize it in a way for me. To teach 100 years later that Hashem still operates measure for measure. So you see, Rabotai, Kadosh Baruch Hu doesn't kid around. Scary, but it's reality. The king is not supposed to be our friend. So now, this person that was given this souped up brain doesn't utilize it to get benefit permanently. When an average kid, 6, 7, 8 years old, you tell him who created the world, he can tell you God. What else he says, it's going to take him time to learn. Rabbi Ephraim says there's one thing that causes all of these people to make the same mistake. And that's one of the secrets that the Chazon Ish says. He says that the person that has the sharp and keen mind, what is the prerequisite for him to have this sharp and keen mind? Separating himself from the flow of material life. Separating himself from material. Meaning, it's not that you become some monk and you pretend like you don't eat and you don't drink and you don't have a wife. No. It's that you use that intellect, you use that brain power, you use that knowledge to control your desires for material possessions. Yes, there is delicious apples and oranges and steak and there's nice houses and there's ugly houses and there's nice cars and there's ugly cars and there's beautiful people and there's ugly people and there's all types of things in the world, and you're allowed to benefit from them. But you're supposed to use your brain and that knowledge and wisdom that you have to know, when can I benefit from them? When is it too much? When am I taking it too much? When am I becoming addicted to them? Am I living and they are part of my life, or my whole life is them? When all you think about is material possessions, you are part of the people that are fools. Why? Because when push comes to shove, this addiction to material will force you to become an atheist or a heretic or both. Why? Every one of these people asked themselves at some point, where did I come from? And when they got to their mother and their grandmother and they went through the whole synopsis of that whole equation, eventually they got to that starting point. Where did the world come from? And everyone knows that no matter how you dice it, no matter where you started from, everything has to have a starting point. Now, if I told you that this book just happens to be some pieces of paper that were on my table, and I also happen to have a jar full of black ink and a little bit of yellow next to it, and my kids ran around and ran into both of them and all splashed up in the air, and boom, it went on the paper perfectly and created the words that you see here, and now I'm reading them to you. Now all of you say, Rabbi, I think the crazy people have driven you crazy. We're going to take you to a nice place. No one will take care of you. No way. Why? No, not possible. But yet, there are literally millions of people that say that the whole world, not the book, came from nothing. The book, everyone knows, is not possible. You showed any kid, shows his teacher a drawing of some thing that they made, some little lion that looks like a dog. It says, "Oh, listen, Mr. Teacher, the ink fell over here and it drew a lion that looks like a dog. What do you think?" Teacher said, "Go to the detention's office. We're not sure what to do with you." What are you gonna do with a kid like this? So how come the teacher has no problem teaching his science class and telling everybody that the whole world came from nothing? Because of his addiction to material. What does the two have to do with each other? When a person goes down the argument, he goes through that tunnel into the depth of knowledge, and he realized that there has to be a starting point before his imah, before his grandmother, before all of the things. There had to be a starting point for not only mankind, for the world. Now, whether you want to believe in Judaism or not, the reality is everyone has to believe in God. Why? Something had to precede the world. And of course, if you, as a creation, know that if you created the best technology in the world, let's call it the first time you've ever seen a smartphone. When Steve Jobs came out and said, "Listen, this is the smartphone," he didn't sell it like this. What did he do? He sold it in a nice box with instructions. Because he knew, if he just gave you this and you've never seen a smartphone before in your life, you wouldn't know what to do with it. This is before YouTube. This is before you could get everything you want on the internet. So in order to know how to use this sophisticated phone that looks like a piece of glass and you're not really sure why, he gave you an instruction booklet to know how to use it. And you as a creation know that if you do the same thing, you want to invent something new, you have to give people a manual of how to use it. So if the creation knows that it must provide a manual of how to use its creation, needless to say, your creator also knows that. So the creator of everything must have known that his creation had to have some type of manual, had to have some type of rule book. Everybody understands this logically, rationally, and they have no problem understanding it. What's the problem? The problem begins when they read the rule book, and that rule book tells them that their material addiction, their physical addictions are forbidden. That's when I have a problem with it. When I tell you, you are not allowed to have a new wife every week, or every time you go clubbing. When I tell you that you're not allowed to eat whatever you want. When I tell you that you're not allowed to go wherever you want. When I tell you you're not allowed to look wherever you want. All of these restrictions on what you consider is your joy and freedom in the world go against your logic. Wait a minute. Why should I listen to you telling me who I should date, who I should not date, who I should marry, who I should not marry? Why should I listen to you what I should eat, what I should not eat? Why should I listen to you who I should be with, not be with, where I should go, where I should not go, where I look at, where I don't look at? Why should I listen to you? So you're not listening to me. Listen to Torah. You listen to God in His instruction manual. You said you believe in God. Okay, then I don't believe in God. That's how they throw out God. Finished. Argument's done. Argument's over. It's not that he doesn't believe. He doesn't want to believe. And if someone doesn't want to believe, there's nothing you can do. And that's what happened to each and every one of these cases. When a person has a physical addiction, whether it be money or respect or food or intimacy or whatever it is, when they have some type of an addiction that they don't want to give up, automatically they say, no, I don't believe in this. Yeah, but it's written in the book. I don't believe in the book. Yeah, but the book is the Gemara. I don't believe in the Gemara. Yeah, but the Gemara is our Torah. Okay, then I don't believe in the Torah then. But you said you do believe in the Torah. Okay, I made a mistake. I don't believe in the Torah. But you said you believe in everything else though. Yeah, well, everything else makes sense to me. This doesn't make sense to me, so I don't believe in it. So 3,000 other things you believed in because it made sense to you. But the one thing that goes against your reality, against your desires, you don't believe in, therefore the whole thing is in the garbage? That makes sense? Not the way you put it. Not the way you put it. And that's what happens. That's why the Chazon Ish says that a person that wants to be able to use his sharp and keen mind, has to first start with separating themselves from the flow of the material life. By doing this, he'll be able to elevate his thoughts above all that exists in this world and look from above on all life in the lower world. Here you see that the Chazon Ish looks at everything that's absent of wisdom, everything that does not have this clarity of who runs the world, why, who, what, when, all of these different things. Anyone who doesn't possess this, he calls them someone that's in the lower world, i.e. low life. That's what a low life is. A low life is something with simply no purpose. Now people may use it for different reasons to make fun of each other, but that's actually what it means. It's a lower life, it's a life with less purpose. A person that does not know what's going to be beyond this life, doesn't know what's the purpose of this life, is a person with a purposeless life. They just live to eat so they can have energy to go work. And they work to make money so they can buy more food. So they can eat it and have energy to go work again. Why? So they can make money so they can eat again. For what? So they can have energy to go back to work. So they can make money to eat again. In essence, a blender. A blender. That's what he thinks he is. That's a low life. That's a life with no purpose whatsoever. Doesn't necessarily make the person a mean person, an evil person, a murderer. It doesn't make them. But it is a common denominator for all of those people. So, a person that elevates themselves, elevates their thoughts above all that exists in this world, will look from above on all life in the lower world and will see the element of wisdom installed in a man created of worldly material as one of the most puzzling mysteries in the world. In so many words, he's going to be able to see how everybody has the same starting point. We all come from a woman. We all don't know what we don't know. We all don't know how to speak when we first start. We don't know how to walk. We don't know how to do anything really. But all of us grow up, grow older, go through life, go through our trials and tribulations, make our own mistakes. But yet, almost none of us want to learn from anybody else's mistakes. We all want to make our own mistakes. Your parents tell you, nah, don't hang out with those people. They're bad for you. Nah, Dad, they're my friends. Yeah, but you realize your old man knows what he's talking about. He's been in the world for 50 years longer than you. He knows who's good friends and who's bad friends. Even if they call you, no, he's my best friend. Yeah, he's your best friend until he stabs you in the back. He's my best friend. No, these are all my best friends, Abba. All my best friends. The old man's making fun of you in his heart. Why? He says, if you die with one good friend, you're lucky. Forget about best friends. One good friend, you're a lucky person. One good friend. People think that they need to have a lot of friends. Torah says otherwise. It's nice to have people that you get along with. But if you listen to the Chachamim, they'll tell you something that's the opposite of the reality of today. The Rabbi Chaim Volozhin in Sefer Keter Rosh, in page 144, says there is an eikar in Avodat Hashem. There is a most critical point in the servitude of Hashem. There's many points, many things that you need to know in serving Hashem, but there is one point that he considers and he says this is a eikar. This is something that's a foundational point. This is something that is critical. You must know this. You must utilize it if you want to serve Hashem at the highest level. Now, some people will think, oh, it must be learning Torah. Other people are going to say, oh, you must maybe perfect all of your midot. Like the Gaon Vilna says. You have to perfect your midot. Torah says it. Others are going to say, maybe you have to not be so materialistic, like some of the things we're talking about today. Rabbi Chaim Volozhin, who heard it from the Arizal, his teacher, says the ikar be'avodat Hashem is to clear the path to heaven by not being connected to the public, because they disturb you in your avodat Hashem. Meaning, a person that wants to serve Hashem to the fullest is going to disconnect themselves from the public as much as possible, and only do it if it's for public reasons, public needs. Meaning, the Arizal, the Rabbi Chaim Volozhin, all of these tzaddikim, they dealt with the public on a regular basis. Somebody comes with a question, they give him an answer. Somebody comes with a problem, they deal with him, they help him. That is a public need, that you do. But that's not what we're talking about, that's the exception. He's talking about everything else. What we call today friends, acquaintances. That stuff, you want to serve Hashem the highest level? Eliminate it altogether. Why? Rashi says, you want friends? Go buy some sfarim. Go buy some books. Go buy some books, you'll learn. You'll learn something useful. You'll learn something useful. That's who you be your best friend. Your best friend should be Rashi, maybe Rambam, maybe the Ramban, maybe the Ran, the Rama, Rabbi Yosef Karo, some of the leading poskim of the current generation. They should be your best friends. Now most young people are going to hate this. Why? If you're a young person, I have 3 best friends, 4 best friends, 18 best friends. The whole graduating class is a best friend. Little do they know that 10 years later they won't even remember each other's name. Everybody in their graduating class, they're hugging each other. Yeah, I'm going to miss you, I'm going to miss you, I'm going to miss you. 6 months later, you forgot who the guy is. He's my best friend. Best friend. Once one of you gets married, bye-bye. You're lucky if you're still in touch with your siblings. Forget about best friends. Why? Life goes on. This is, again, this may sound terrible, bad in some people's... It's not. It's just a simple reality as you get older. You realize there are simply more important things in life. Maintain relationships, siblings, parents, that's a relationship. Friends, they come and go. And most of the time, they come when you don't need them, and they go when you do need them. So, the sages were very clear in their instructions. You want to serve Hashem? Eliminate all distractions. Your friends are a distraction. Why are they a distraction? They want to do stuff. They want you to entertain them. They want to go on vacation together. They want to go out to eat together. They want to go to sleep. They want to this. They want to call you. They want to chit-chat with you. You know, they want to do stuff. That's distractions. Instead of calling your girlfriend or your friend or your buddy and just chit-chatting about absolutely nothing for 45 minutes, you could just go learn another Shiur Torah. That's going to actually help you in real life. That conversation with your friend for 45 minutes, for sure is not going to help your life. Not your life or her life. Most likely it'll ruin both of your lives, because most of it is Lashon Hara anyway. It's not going to help anybody. Those conversations don't help anybody. No, but she's my friend. In what way? That she talks Lashon Hara with you? When you go up to Shamayim and they get punished because of all the Lashon Hara that you talk to her, your girlfriend, every night for 30 years. You still going to say, oh, she's my best friend. Okay, don't worry, we'll put you in the same place. You guys are going to be together too. What are you going to get out of it? Nothing. If she's your best friend in Chesed, meaning you guys do mitzvot together, you learn together, Baruch Hashem, that's a friend. If she rebukes you and you rebuke her back and you accept each other's rebuke, that's a friend. But how many people have such friends? Most of the time you rebuke your friend, I don't want to be a friend anymore. I don't want to be a friend anymore. Yeah, but you've been my friend for 10 years. Yeah, I don't want to be a friend anymore. Walk around next to them, they act like you never seen you before. I've seen that a few times. Strange how people act. You can be friends with them for 10, 20 years. One day you do something to annoy them, they pass by you, they walk by you like you're a ghost. I had 3 employees did this to me when I was really sick on Wall Street. I'll never forget this in my life. 3 guys, each one of them I helped them in a different way. One guy, marriage, another guy, money, another guy, also marriage and money and other things. Each one of them, Baruch Hashem, I invested a lot of money into and a lot of time into and a lot of everything into. One day they asked for a raise, an unreasonable raise. They pretty much wanted to take over the company because I was sick, I was dying. And I told them no, which is pretty much what every boss would say, no. You want everything for yourself? So what did they do from that day on, until I fired them eventually? They walked into the office and they wouldn't talk to me. In my office, in my house. They'd pass by me, and I'd pass. They wouldn't say hello, they wouldn't say good morning, nothing. For a few months, until I fired them. They thought they were superheroes, that way. Don't say hi, don't say hello. People do this. How long was I friends with each one of them? The shortest relationship among them was 12, 13 years. The shortest. One of them was like 20 plus years. Just like that. People will sell you out for $5. Sometimes even less. Why? That's the way people are. Don't invest so much in these friends. Why? They're temporary. So, now, a person understands that there is an upper world and there's a lower world. Meaning, an upper world which is a world full of wisdom, a lower world which is missing this wisdom. And he elevates his thoughts above all that exists in this lower life, in this lower world. He will see the element of wisdom installed in man, created of worldly material, as one of the most puzzling mysteries of all. His soul will be overcome by desire to understand this mystery, but to no avail. Once a person gets clarity, they don't necessarily need to attain complete wisdom, but they attain clarity about that wisdom does exist, and that wisdom, all 7 parts of it, which at one point we'll talk about each part, all 7 parts of wisdom, all of it is in the Torah. All of it. Anything that's of any value is in the Torah. All of it is to be found in the Torah and nowhere else. Once a person knows that this exists, he becomes overcome by the desire to become wise. Meaning, this becomes his or her new addiction. She cannot get enough shiurim. She wants more. He cannot get enough books. He wants to read more. More. That becomes his addiction. Tell me, you want to come and play baseball with us? What? Baseball? No. Why are you looking at me like that? Oh, no, nothing. No, I just don't want to go. In your mind, like, why is this guy asking me to play with stupid ball? I could just go read some Rambam right now. I go read the Gemara. I want to play with a ball? What am I, a dog? Like in your, you can't tell it to the guy because it's going to insult him. But in your mind, like, why would I want to play with a ball? Am I a dog? Dog doesn't have a brain, so he plays with a ball back and forth and 500 times. I'm not a dog. I want to live forever. I have to attain more wisdom. Why? Because yesterday I found out why the Korban is this way, not that way. Today I want to find out why the Korban is not the other way instead of this way. And so on and so forth. You want to attain wisdom, not only for the things that are pertaining to your life, but for the sake of wisdom itself. Because you know that this is good and you want more of it. You cannot watch enough good quality shurim. You cannot read enough good sfarim that are full of new wisdom that you've never heard before. You cannot learn enough Torah. It's mamash an addiction. That's what David HaMelech was saying to HaShem in his Tehillim, while all of these kings talk about nonsense and mundane. Your Torah is constantly my conversation, even when I'm next to these kings. They can talk about whatever they want, and they think that I'm a king, and I'll talk about the same thing. War, and money, and poverty, and the people, and what's the best way to run the land. Hashem, all I talk about is Torah. They're talking about, oh yeah, we're going to open a new bridge here, and the other guy's talking about, yeah, we have new weapons, and the other guy's going to say, yeah, we have a new enemy. David HaMelech comes up to them and says, guys, I have a sick chidush for you guys. Sick chidush. Sick chidush. What? What's sick and what's the chidush? Let me tell you about both. And he tells them a chidush about what happened in Parashat Shavua and how you can read this way and not that way, and it's missing a letter, and that's because there's a secret in there, and you learn 87 different halachot from this one letter. And the kings, their jaws drop of how many things David HaMelech can say about a single word in the Torah. And that's just the chidush. That's just a new insight. Why? Kol hayom isichati. All day it's my conversation. All day. That's what I care about. I don't care about war. I don't care about money. I don't care about what kind of purse she has, or what kind of car he bought, or how much money he got paid, or how much money he lost. It doesn't make a difference to me. Doesn't make a difference to me. That's why I always tell you guys, try to eliminate all the shtuyot from your head. Try to eliminate it. Why? This is the tool of the Satan. Which is the next part of what the Chazon Ish talks about. Where he says a person is going to be overcome with a desire to understand, but to no avail. Greater still is the wonder of the installation of the intellect, which is undefined in terms of bodily aspect and has no physical dimensions, no childhood or age in a material body. When a person is an infant, his intellect is infantile as well. As he grows up, his intellect grows with him. Wondrous are the wisdom and the sagacity upon which the chosen of all creation, meaning man, is founded. So, here the Chazon Ish is telling us that once a person falls in love with true wisdom and wants no end to it, he's still going to have a difficulty. One part is because there's no end to the Torah. The Torah is wider than the ocean. The second part is because the Yetzer Hara doesn't stop working. You see, the actions of a person, although they're not decreed by Shemaim, you decide your actions. HaShem does decide the outcome. Now, when you do something that's good, the Mishnah in Avot says you create an angel. An angel that's going to give you more power to do more good. When you do something bad, when you make a sin, you're going to create an angel that's going to do the opposite. It's going to give you weakness when it comes to doing something good, and strength when it comes to doing something bad. Which means that when a person makes certain sins, those sins affect their mind. So it's not that HaShem decided that you're going to get burned. It's that if you put your hand in fire, the outcome is fire. It's going to burn your hand. Simple. HaShem didn't want to burn your hand. You decide to put your hand in the fire, and the fire burns. It's a cause and effect. When a person makes sins, especially the big ones, he creates a big damage too. Now, the most significant damage that a person can make is by making the sins that are isur karet, which are the love sins. 32 specific sins, and the Zohar says there's as many as 48, which are specific sins that the Torah says these sins cut the person off, destroy their spiritual connection. Now, practically speaking, when a person makes such a sin, you don't really usually see a physical change. If, let's say, you see a person drive on Shabbat, you don't see anything change while he's driving on Shabbat. Now, if everybody that drove on Shabbat died, then no one would drive at all, period. Not even just on Shabbat. No one would drive, period. So Hashem gives people the ability to decide whether to drive on Shabbat or not drive on Shabbat. When a person makes a immorality crime, whether it's by himself or herself or with somebody, they don't see anything bad at that moment. Sometimes the opposite, they feel a pleasure that distorts their mind. When do you see the outcome, the fire, if you will, from that action? One of them is the obvious, which is in the next world, which people don't understand what that will be. The second is in this world, when it comes to their thinking. A person that makes immorality crimes tends to have an impossible time understanding everything I just said today. Has an impossible time accepting everything I just said today and every other time I've had a lecture. A person that makes these major sins has so many defects that he or she created for themselves, it's very hard for them to absorb the truth as clear as it is. This is why, if you've already been watching my shulim, let's say for a year or 2 years, if you go back 2 years ago to the first shiur you ever watched and you watch it again, if I was allowed to bet, I would bet you. But I'm not allowed to bet. It's against the Torah. You watch that shiur, it's going to be a completely different shiur than what you got the first time. Completely different shiur. Why? Your mind, after watching the shurim for a couple of years, has been rewired, has been clarified, has changed dramatically, where now you're able to perceive the truth much more directly. Whereas in the past, because there was possibly still certain sins that you didn't know were sins even, because no one else taught you, so you were still making them. Now that you're not making them anymore because you realize how horrible it is, what ended up happening is you stopped, and now when you hear that same shiur, everything goes in clearly. This happens, and I see this time and time again with students that have been watching us for some time, a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, and you see their language change. This is also why anytime you see a Baal Tshuva grow, it's one of the most wonderful things in the world. You see it in yourself, but you'll be able to notice it much more in other people. When a person first starts making tshuva, you see them as they are. But if they're really serious, you see how they progress a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years later. Their looks change. Not just their nature and how they speak, but their actual physical looks change. They become softer. Their features on their face become softer. You want a perfect example? Go watch my movie. There's a section where I'm on CNBC. On my Wall Street days. Unfortunately, in those days, I was still a Rasha, violating Shabbat. Look at my face. I wasn't a criminal as far as I didn't kill anybody. I didn't steal any money. I wasn't an evil person that did anything that society said is wrong. According to HaShem, I was wrong about other things, religious reasons, Torah reasons. But as far as society, I was a fantastic citizen. Donated money. I was a businessman of the year award. All types of other shtuyot. But you look at my face in the movie, from 2003, I think it was, 2002, something like that, or 2006, whatever it was, and you look at my face in the regular lecture now, and it's not age. It's not age. It's simply the features. You can also look at many, many other people. Before tshuva, after tshuva. Their face changes. You look at a woman that is secular, and you look at her sister, that's a Baalat Tshuva, twin sisters. You see the secular woman as she ages, everybody's beautiful at 20 years old. 20 years old, everybody's beautiful. 25, 30, start aging, maybe a first little thing that you don't like, so you put some makeup on it. 40 years old, you got a couple already, you put a little bit more makeup. By the time you're 50, you got enough lines where pretty much you're not happy with what you look like. Self-conscious people are this way. And you always remember how you were when you were 20. Today, it's even guys think that way. Guys think about how they were when they were 20, because guys are very feminine in this generation. Anyway, think about how it was in 20. What happened with the religious women? You'll notice, the longer they're religious, the less they age. You see their facial features change less. You see religious women, they're 48, 50, 55 years old, still having kids, like Sarah Imenu at 90. It's unbelievable. You look at their face, you're like, what is she, 30? No, she just turned 49. What is she, 25? No, she's almost 60. How is that possible? I'm telling you, I see the unbelievable. Unbelievable. Now, if you ask the two, how do you take care of your skin? How do you take care of your skin? The one that's secular spends millions of dollars on taking care of our skin. The religious woman sometimes yes, sometimes no, but nowhere to compare. HaKadosh Baruch Hu has mamash chen. He gives chen to the religious women. They age differently. They simply age differently. Baal Tshuva, face changes. It's wonderful things like this that if you pay close attention, you see there is a physical difference. But the biggest difference, and the most significant one, is the mental capacity of a person. What they're able to comprehend. Where if they are a person that accepts truth, and they'll receive it, you'll see that that person has no limitation to how much they can grow and how fast they can grow. But if that person makes a certain amount of sins, or a certain type of sins, it's very, very difficult for that person to grow at all. There are certain people that I've been trying to work with for the last several years. I can tell you today, these people are HaShem Yirachem, lost cases. Baruch Hashem, it's not many, less than a handful, but lost cases. There's nothing I can do for them. Almost every single person, I'm talking about thousands of people that I've worked with, over the years, you could help them. There's a few cases, completely lost cases. Why? They're so addicted to the sin, they cannot remove themselves from it. It's like a crack addict. You know, crack addict, you take away the crack from them, they feel like they're going to die, because they may actually die. Because of the strength of the addiction. So even toning them off of it is dangerous. Same thing with certain sins. So that's the problem sometimes. When we become so addicted to certain sins, it's very, very difficult for us to continue growing with our Torah, because those sins distort our mind. Now, one of the secrets of warfare today is that the most dangerous warfare there is in the world today does not involve weapons. It doesn't involve tanks. It doesn't involve airplanes. It doesn't even involve bombs. The most dangerous warfare there is today is cyber warfare. War through computers. Each country, whether it be America, or Korea, or China, or Iran, or Israel, or whoever, has two armies. One, the stuff you see on the news, with the machine guns and the tanks and the cool-looking hats, all that stuff. That's a show. Most of them are never going to shoot a bullet. And then there's the real warfare. What is it? A bunch of nerdy guys and girls with little glasses on and special headphones in front of a computer on the internet. All day, like you guys, all day. But instead of Judaism Torah like tzaddikim, what do they do? They're trying to bomb each other. What's the bombs? Emails full of viruses. The guy accepts the email, their power plant shuts down. Their country loses money. This country makes money. Their virus goes in there, they know the blueprint of their entire army base. They accept this email, they get this USB, somebody goes in there, they have all the secrets in the special files that talk about all the dirt, about all of these politicians and all the people they murder in disguise. All this stuff. What do you think? This stuff just comes out in the blue on the internet? No, it's warfare. And each one of them has an army of people constantly trying to destroy each other every day. Meaning that we are at war 24 hours a day all the time. There is no such thing as peace. The stuff we hear about in news, whoever still wastes their time watching the news, that's the stuff that's like the after effect. That's like the after. The real stuff, the real destruction, that's behind computers, little enter keys, and little numbers on them, and letters, and codes, and all types of things. That's why, in the past, hackers used to be people that if you were known as a hacker, you was frowned upon. Today, if you're a good hacker, you could be making $1 million a year. Or more. Unless you work against the government. Then, give or take. Maybe more, maybe jail time forever. Depends. But even if they catch you, by the way, even if they catch you and you're a criminal, they catch you, you could get yourself out of jail. How? Working for the government. And there's several stories that I know of that the guy was a proven hacker, went against the government, stole a bunch of money, got caught. Okay, you want to get freed? Okay. Not only work for the government, but tell us about your other friends. Recruit, do KIRUV in the hacker business. Do KIRUV. Bring us the rest of your buddies. Why? Because this is the type of stuff that's not only a experience, but you also have to have a certain talent. Point being, Rabotai, that's how war is. Why do I mention this? This is a simple, clear analogy of how the Satan himself works. What is the main hack that's still the most popular? Taking down websites. Go to the IRS website, you want to mess with America, take the website down. You want to mess with Hollywood, take down the website down for some new release. You want to mess with the government, take down some other government website. You want to mess with people, take down the website for some power plant or whatever, or some electric company. That's pretty much what you do. Take down the website. How do you take down the website? It's very simple. Every website is programmed to accept a certain amount of visitors. Certain amount of visitors that their server can handle. So what does somebody do? They make a special code. That is, one person is entering the website. They hack into the system. They enter into the system. But they make a code that for every person that enters after them, it's going to be counted as 100,000 people are entering. Not one person. So what happens? After 1 or 2 people enter the website like normal business, the whole website crashes. Why? Too many people. But it's not too many people. It's only 2 people. But the website thinks it's 200,000 people. That's how the Satan messes with us. What does he do? You have a life. Your life doesn't really require so many moving parts. What do you really got to do? You got to stay alive. First of all, that's a start. So you got to eat to stay alive. You got to make some money so you could buy the food. And you got to know what to do with this brain of yours and this life of yours in order for you to live forever. That's pretty much simple. Learn Torah, do mitzvot, that's it. What does the Torah, what does the Satan do? When it comes to eating, he says, no, what are you going to eat today? Yesterday you had a sandwich. You going to have a sandwich again today? No, you're going to have today a plate of something. Okay, I'm going to get some Chinese food. Chinese food, a guy like you, you're not going to eat junk food. And you decided what you're going to eat for 45 minutes. 45 minutes just to decide what you're going to eat. Because you have all these ideas and all these menus in your head. Oh, Chinese food. No, it's going to be Turkish food. No, it's going to be Indian food. No, it's going to be this food, that food, Russian food, all types of food. By the time you eat, you're not even hungry anymore. But you wasted 45 minutes. Then, it comes to work. Work, what do they require from you? 9 to 5. You go work. Hi, boss, I'm here. I'm going to do my job. You come into work. 5 o'clock, clock out like every average Joe. No. What do? You take work home. You take work home. Honey, I can't talk right now. Tell the kids I can't. No, I gotta work. You're working overtime. Why? Because you think that if you work more, tomorrow you're gonna work less. So the work starts eating into your family time, into your marriage, into your Torah, into your actual life. It's no longer a job to make a living. It became your life. It became your life. Further than that, you're not even happy with the job. Why? Because you're always looking at your friend that works for some other company, because there's always a friend at some other company that somehow always makes more money than you. So what are you doing? You're counting his money. Yeah, I'm better than him. So if I was working over there, I'd probably make this. And you start having all of these ideas in your head of what you would do with the money that you don't have, but your friend happens to have, but you're better than your friend. And you have all these ideas of what you would do, like the guys that have an argument about what they would do with the winning the lottery. After they won, they haven't even bought the ticket yet. and you have all this imagination, and you are hating your job every day more and more because of this imagination that you have, which makes you perform even worse at your job, and you're probably more likely to get fired than to get a promotion, but you don't even realize this because you're thinking about your friend's job, and you're for sure that you're going to get a job over there, because why wouldn't they hire you, because you're so good? And you have this imagination in your head that you're living somewhere else, a different job. You're going to make more money over there, and it's going to be like Taj Mahal over there, and it's going to be like vacation over there. You don't realize that your place is vacation for them, and their place is vacation for you. But everybody thinks that the grass is greener somewhere else. And what ends up happening is that even the job that you're working overtime on, you don't enjoy. You don't make the money that you could be making because you're not focused on it. You're focused on somebody else's job and somebody else's salary. So you never climb up the ladder like you're supposed to. You stay at the same dead-end position for 20 years because you're not aspiring to be anything better, because you're too busy counting other people's money. And what ends up happening is that you're just staying in the same place, thinking about other people, and you never progress. In the same place. But one day, no, I'm going to start my own company. But you don't have any money. You're making the same salary for 20 years. Okay, so I'm going to borrow money. From who? Oh, from family and friends. What do you know about running a business? Not much, but Steve Jobs didn't know anything either. Yeah, but you're not Steve Jobs. And you take a bunch of risk with other people's money, and you lose them the money, and you don't know what to say. And a lot of this stuff happens, but you call yourself an entrepreneur. Why? Because you were too hungry for the money, but not focused so much about the goal, the job itself. And the Yetzer Hara keeps you busy with all of those thoughts. And what about when it comes to serving Hashem? I'll do it later. I'll do it later. Why? I'm busy eating 15 different lunches. I'm busy working 25 different jobs in my mind. I'm busy this, I'm busy that. I can't go to the shiur. I can't do this. All of your avodat Hashem is eaten up by all of these thoughts. Why? The Yetzer Hara, what did he do? He sent a bunch of notices into your brain of different things that you don't need. You need to look at 15 different menus before you pick what to eat. You look at 15 different applications before you pick what job to apply for. And if that's not enough, he sends you the news. Why? That's for sure going to stress you out, because everybody dies every day on the news. Somebody dies on the news or is about to die on the news, and you have to know about it. Just on the way here, somebody said, there's a strike, somebody got killed, and unfortunately there's a whole thing in Florida, now they're shutting down everything. Okay, why are you watching the news? What is it going to do for you to watch the news? Oh, you need to know about the news. Why? For what? What purpose is it going to do for you? What purpose is it going to do for you to watch the news? Nothing. Not going to do anything for you. Why? What are they going to tell you? They're going to tell you somebody died, and somebody made money, somebody lost money. It's the same thing as yesterday. You want to watch some basic things for half a second? Okay, fine. But to get stressed over it? Forbidden. Why? It's giving the news power, which is a form of idolatry. Hashem runs the world. There's no reason to get stressed over anything in the news. Things are happening, react accordingly. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is sending us different signs, whether it be Corona, or it be the market crash, or whatever it is. Don't get stressed out. Why? That's what the Satan wants you to do. Because if you're stressed out about the news, guess what? You're not going to have the mind to go listen to a shiur Torah. You're not going to have the mind to be a good wife or a good husband. You're not going to have the mind to be a good employee or a good businessman that's honest. You're not going to have the mind and the patience to even make a good lunch. Nothing. You're not going to be able to operate. Why? Because instead of it being one bit of news, he sent you a virus. He made it seem like there's 100,000 different things happening at once because you watch the news, and the news rotates every 2 seconds. Somebody else dies. Somebody else makes money. Somebody else loses money. Somebody else happens. Then if that's not enough, they send you the commercials. And the commercials tell you about all the things that you want even though you don't need them. Some girl that's naked with a soap, another guy with cereal, some dog that you don't even have a pet but you want to buy dog food after you see the commercial. All this junk that's on the internet and on TV, that's the Satan trying to take, not rent on your brain, permanent residence. He's simply trying to move in by sending a little virus and telling you, occupy your mind about everything but Hashem. Everything but Hashem. Focus on the war that's not even here. Focus on the computer that your friend has that you want. Focus on his wife. Focus on her husband. Focus on their kids. Focus on that school. Focus on everything but HaShem. You only pressed one button, but you let the virus in. This is one of the most important lessons that we have to apply to our life, whether we like everything I just said or not. Because if you want to attain wisdom, the least you can do is clear up your mind from all of this junk that you allow in on a regular basis, from all the commercials and all the news and all the stresses that everybody else has. You have to clear your mind of all of that. Do the basics. You need to eat, you need to work, you need to serve HaShem. Finished. All the other stuff, it's extra. It's simply not necessary. It's simply not necessary. I'm not telling you to live in a cave. I'm not telling you to be a homeless person on the street collecting change. I'm not telling you that. But to be so connected to the system that every bit of news that comes out, you're the first one that knows about it, it's a horrible way to live. Just on Motzei Shabbat, every Motzei Shabbat I get at least 5 or 6 messages from somebody that watched the news, sometimes on Shabbat. They say, oh, there's these riots, it's going to be a revolution here, I don't know what's going to happen, Rabbi, this is the end. I'm thinking to myself, Shavua Tov. What kind of Shavua did you have? Like, well, it's better off to stay on Shabbat for a week with such a notice. Like, who wants to live that life? All this junk. Another person, I don't want to leave the house. Why? Coronavirus. Okay, don't hug anyone. Stay away from people. Stuff you have to do halachically anyway. You don't have to go crazy. Fine, take care of yourself. Be conscious of certain things, but don't go crazy. But people get crazy over the news and the internet and all this stuff, and it ruins their life. And they never get ahead. You're never going to find somebody say, I became successful because I watched the news. I became successful because I know the stats for all of these people, all these sports stars. No one ever became successful because of that. No one succeeds because of those things. So when a person applies these couple of tools, they're going to be able to at least allow this special mind to absorb more and more of this wisdom, more and more of this knowledge that they are attaining from learning Torah. But if you're going to continue wasting your time with a lot of this other stuff, unfortunately it's going to end up the same way as these geniuses. You see, these geniuses, these Einsteins of the world, if you will, they also were very, very, very smart, and they were constantly getting a lot of information. They were reading a lot of books, they were doing a lot of studies, but they still arrived at that wrong conclusion. The wrong conclusion meaning that they don't have to worry about an eternal life, they have to just worry about this life. Why did they arrive at that conclusion? We already said, because of their material desires. But there's also a reason of why they had the material desires. Meaning a deeper reason why you even have this material desires. Because they constantly consumed information that was contrary to the truth, that was contrary to the source of all wisdom. So what ends up happening is, even if you have the greatest sword in the world, the sharpest sword in the world, if you cover that sword with a bunch of, let's say fat, animal fat, and on top of it you put all types of cotton, and on top of it you put on a bunch of sweaters, and on top of that you put a bunch of pillows, guess what? That sword, you try to hit something with it, it's not going to do anything. You try to cut something with it, it's not going to do anything. Yeah, the original equipment is very sharp, but when you put a bunch of stuff on it that doesn't belong, it dulls it out, it ruins everything. So even the wisest person out there becomes dull when it comes to something that matters. So BeEzrat HaShem, this shiur will give us another push to, at the very least, allow our minds to stay clear by not allowing this foreign thoughts to enter. The more you allow your mind to be clear, the more your mind will be clear in order to accept the truth. The more it accepts the truth, the more your wisdom will grow, and the more you'll actually even see not only a physical effect on yourself, but also, BeEzrat HaShem, a very significant spiritual effect. Baruch Adonai Le'olam, Amen ve'amen.